What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Camper Report. We've got a great guest on today. Obviously, this is a continuation of kind of my Around the NFL series, which is basically I go around to content creators from different NFL teams, and I kind of see what their fan base is doing. We're in a dead part of the off season, so I'm kind of trying to get different type of content creators. I've obviously so far had a Ravens fan on. I've had a few Ravens fans actually. I've had let's see, I haven't written them all down, but I'm right now trying to hit the NFC South. And so tomorrow on Saturday, I'll have G Talk Sports, Falcons fan, and then hopefully on Sunday, I'll have a Lions fan, Gridiron Blitz. So that's kind of my schedule for this week. But without further ado, we have got Dolph from the what is the podcast again? It's escaping me.
The Keeping It Real Who That Sports podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got an exciting. First off, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself? I appreciate you having me on, man. It's an honor.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun show because I'm excited to kind of chop up Saints. Obviously it's fun because I don't know a ton about these other organizations, so I'm kind of just looking for people who can educate me a little bit more during this dead period. So thank you for coming on.
No problem.
Yeah. So before we start, let's get into kind of some of the comments here. And by the way, so real quickly, tell them before we actually I usually do this with all of my guests before we get going. Where can we basically, obviously, you make Saints content creation on YouTube. Kind of where can you said your name? Where can we find you on Twitter? What is your basically name on those platforms?
On the platforms, it's Keeping It Real Who That Sports podcast. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Spotify, of course, YouTube, and Twitch. We're also on Twitch. We stream live to Twitch every week. Also, we're now part of the Come On In Sports Network, which is my very own network that I've just started. So real proud of that. And so we're definitely looking forward to growing. We also have a new podcast called As the NFL Turns. And during the season, man, I'm gonna have to get you on there, man. You're gonna have to come on through, man. And as the season's going, man, and we go. This won't be the last time, man. This won't be the last time. But
thank you.
Yes, sir. That's what we're doing over there. Everybody's listen, you don't have to be a Saints fan to come be part of the Keeping It Real Who That Sports podcast. I want everybody. If you're Ravens, Cowboys, Dolphins, Seahawks, Vikings, it doesn't matter. Come on in. Come be part of the family. It's a real family atmosphere. We always open up the line, let everybody come in, voice your opinion, how you feel, what you think. It's not going to be Coach and myself just sitting there talking and you just sitting there like, okay, we don't do it like that, man. And then, sometimes with family, you have you agree to disagree. It get heated sometimes, but we family, man, so it's a real again loving family members we got over there. And shouts out to the OG Uncle Jerry, what we call him, for coming through. Appreciate showing the love.
Yeah, for sure. So I didn't post all of his socials, but I did, the ones that I'm on YouTube and Twitter, I did post those in the description. So go check those out there. But Jerry G says Saints fan here. He says Dolph 17. So welcome, Jerry G. Obviously first to the show. And then Bryant Culp says you always have a great guest. I appreciate it, man. Trying to get as many in as possible while we have this dead period. Coach Rock says the game has changed. No, sorry. Coach Rock, the game has changed. I read that completely wrong. My bad. What link?
Yeah, that's my co-host. He's trying to find the link, man.
Oh, okay. So I sent it to him on Gmail. You might have to look in your spam though, because it might have not gotten on.
Let me see if I can.
Let me check my sent real quick. My sent folder.
Okay.
Yeah, Alfred Rock 87, and I sent him the StreamYard and YouTube link. So you should have it, but you might have to check your spam. I'm campersports11@gmail.com, so just kind of look for that. But CarCast 49ers Talk, while you're figuring that out, CarCast 49ers Talk says, "What's up?"
What's
Uh,
up, man? How you
a
doing?
to the show. So thank you, thank you. Are you still figuring that out, or do you want to move to the topics?
We could go to the topics. No problem. I
Yeah, because
can.
that's okay. So let's get to the first one. And this is obviously kind of going a little bit back to a few years ago when you guys hired Dennis Allen, but this was always a mystery to me, and I think was a mystery to a lot of people. And I just want to kind of get your thoughts on why you guys hired Dennis Allen as the head coach. Obviously, he was your defensive coordinator. He was a coach for some time with the Raiders, but why didn't you guys go after a successful college coach like Jim Harbaugh maybe, or why didn't you guys go after Dayball or Bieniemy or Lincoln Riley? Why did the Saints choose to go after Dennis Allen as head coach a few years ago, and what do you think was their reasoning behind that?
Well, first of all, Dennis Allen has been a successful defensive coordinator with the Saints. The Saints ranked in the top 5, the top 10 in his tenure as the defensive coordinator. When Sean Payton was here, it took him a while to find that right defensive coordinator. He had some success, of course, with Greg Williams, um, and also with Ryan. But when with Dennis Allen, it was sustained success. Dennis Allen is a very good defensive coordinator. Now, as far as the rest of Who That Nation, he had something to prove to us as a head coach. His previous stint with the Raiders was not good.
Yeah.
So last year, we all, I guess you can say, wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. Dennis Allen, to many, was handed a playoff ready team, a contending team last year, and things just never materialized. Things went from week one, things went downhill. First of all, in week one, it took the greatest comeback in the history of the New Orleans Saints against our hated rivals, the Atlanta Falcons, for the Saints
Yeah.
even to get that victory. But what we didn't know in the process of that game was that starting quarterback Jameis Winston suffered full cracked vertebrae in his back, and he did
Yeah.
come back in to complete the game. Now, after that, for some reason, they decided to parade Jameis Winston back out there for 2 more weeks. Sometimes, as a coach, you have to save a player from himself. I understand. Second week, it was Saints versus Tampa. That meant something to Jameis, but he was nowhere close to 100%. He did not give a team the best chance to win. As a head coach, I feel Dennis Allen should have just shut him down, but he let him go 1 more week. In Carolina, of course, the Saints lost that game, turnover prone, missed tackles, and for the entire season, the Saints went on a pattern. It would be win one game, lose two, win one game, lose two. And that's how the pattern went the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
Many people would look at the season that Andy Dalton had and look at his numbers and say, wow, Andy Dalton really balled for you guys. He was great.
Right.
That's because you are from afar. You did not sit down and watch every game. If the Saints would have had to go back with Andy Dalton, there would have been a revolt in Who That Nation. Andy Dalton was not the answer. He was
Yeah.
not the Andy Dalton from Cincinnati that was winning division titles and taking them to the playoffs.
Exactly.
Those days are over. The Saints built their entire offseason offense around Jameis Winston. So when you lost your starting quarterback. Then 2 weeks later, Michael Thomas is gone. He only plays in 3 games. Just coming back, went through training camp and everything, preseason looking good. He balled out in game 1 against AJ Terrell, who was talking all during the summer and before the game, and Mike pretty much undressed him in front of a national audience. Be careful what you ask for. And I'm gonna tell you again, all you Falcon fans out there, be careful what you ask for. But I got to mess with him, man. But yeah. So Dennis Allen, man, the players would say that Dennis Allen didn't lose the team. Some beat reporters that we speak to on a regular would say that he still had the team. But when your star player comes out publicly and says there's no accountability for when guys jump off sides or mess up in practice, nobody says nothing. And then you have when on another podcast, it was Mark Ingram and Sean Payton talking, and Mark Ingram says if you was the coach, that would have never happened. So to me, that was a detriment. But what really soured the Who Dat Nation on Dennis Allen last year was the game against Arizona, when before halftime, your quarterback just thrown 2 pick six, and you come out the locker room, the reporter asks you, what do you tell your quarterback after he throws 2 pick six? And the first thing he says is, nothing. Just keep doing what you're doing. Right then and there, he lost maybe the entire Who Dat Nation. They may have been 1 or 2%, but Dennis Allen as a defensive coordinator is a great coach. Now, as a head coach, he still has everybody feel that he still has room to grow. Now, what did occur last year is the Saints finished strong down the stretch, not counting the last game of the season, which was horrendous by the offense, when your defense only surrendered 32 net yards passing and you lose the game. But last year, Dennis Allen won 7 games. That's the most he's won as a coach. So now we come back into this offseason. I like the moves they made. They've addressed every need that they have. It hasn't been knee-jerk. It hasn't been the splash that many teams made this offseason, but it has been exactly what they need. So that's my thoughts with Dennis Allen. And as you can see, we've been joined by my co-host of the Keeping It Real Who Dat Sports podcast, the legendary Coach Rock.
49ers, come on in. Have a seat.
Welcome. It's nice to meet you, Coach. I guess, what do I call you? Coach Rock.
Coach Rock.
Okay.
Coach Rock.
It's nice to meet you, though. Thanks for coming on. Here, obviously, this should be a fun show. So, but yeah, what are your thoughts, kind of on? I guess he pretty much summed it up, Dolph. But Dennis Allen, just as a head coach in general, and obviously we didn't get to discuss this backstage, but would you guys want to split the questions, or do you want to go as kind of a roundtable with each question, or what's the?
Dolph like to talk, and I just kind of piggyback and fall in line. He the big talker on the show, man. So I kind of just fall in line. He the boss.
You funny. It's your show, Ben. However you want to do it, we good, man.
You know what? Let's split them, because obviously for me, I have a few things to do on Friday night, family time, so we could split them if that's okay with you guys.
That's fine.
And so obviously I think with the Dennis Allen thing, I mean, you guys were ranked 10th in the NFL, we're 9th in the NFL, points allowed. It was 300 and something, whatever. But the thing that is most impressive to me, and this is why I think you have to kind of keep Dennis Allen around, is the thing that's most impressive is you guys lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and your secondary was still able to, do pretty. I mean, obviously you had what's his name, Marshawn Lattimore, and then the guy on the other side, which his name is Adebo.
Yeah, Adebo.
The injuries. Looking more back at it today as I was looking up, I mean, your guys' injuries hit you guys hard, and after that injury that Adebo had earlier this year, kind of, to me, it kind of threw his whole season off after that injury where he missed like 3 weeks. Do you guys kind of feel the same way?
Go ahead, Coach.
Coach, yeah.
I think it did, but I kind of think losing CJ, it took a lot out of that secondary, as far as momentum, and just the energy level. You didn't see that
Right.
secondary play with the energy level that they were accustomed to playing with in the beginning. And I think as the season progressed, I think that secondary kind of took on a new definition of who they were. But I think losing him and the energy that he brought, man, it was unreplaceable. But I think on the back half of the season, they kind of transitioned, and then they kind of took on their own identity without him.
Interesting. Yeah, so that's obviously we could. Do you have anything else to say on that, or do you want to move on, Dolph?
Pretty much what he's saying. The CJ Gardner trade caught everybody by surprise. He wanted the new contract. There were some things that were going on that the team could have handled better and he could have handled better. But they decided to get him out and move on from him because they knew what they had in a player that when he did get on the field, he showed what he was, and that's one Allante Taylor, who had one heck of a rookie season. It could have been better if he could have held on to some balls and picked off some intercepts. But man, listen, he went head to head with Devontae Adams, Hopkins, and listen, he didn't bat an eye. The kid held his own. Paulson Adebo, who you were speaking about earlier in training camp last year, he was the star of training camp. But as right before the season, he suffered a high ankle sprain, which pretty much bothered him the entire year. Lattimore, by the way, only played in 7 games last year. But the game that he returned late in the season against Philadelphia, he sealed the game with a pick 6. So this right now, the strongest part of this Saints team to me is their secondary.
Yeah, I'd have to. Paulson Adebo, obviously 60% completion rate allowed. That's not great, but hopefully he can. With there are turnaround players each year, and there are players that it takes them a few years to kind of get into the flow of things. So maybe next year is his comeback year. I don't know, but Coach Rock, Derek Carr, did you get the topics beforehand, or are you all comfortable with them? Okay,
I didn't get him.
that's totally fine. What is your ceiling with Derek Carr at QB? And will Olave now be a potential top 10 wide receiver with him at quarterback? Because beforehand with Andy Dalton, we all know that it was check down. It wasn't a lot of deep throws. Now Olave kind of gets to play towards more of his strength with Derek Carr at the QB position. And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Dennis Allen a coach while Derek Carr was there at the Raiders for a little while?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, kind of, what are your thoughts on that? If you can answer that.
Derek Carr situation, man. I think me and Dolph talked about this a couple of shows ago. The first thing is that he's somewhere where he's wanted now, and I think that's important for any player, being somewhere where they want it and they feel a need to be there. And I don't think with the Raiders, whatever happened in the locker room within the organization, he wasn't happy there anymore. But, he still had to maintain his professionalism and, because it's a job. But I think coming to the Saints, they opened arms, they want him there. And you could tell from day one, he's been putting the work in. He's been working with the receivers. He's excited about the franchise. So I think with that being said, also, the coaching staff is doing a lot of work. You even had John Gruden come in and kind of work with him on some offensive schemes and some offensive tactics to help the Saints out. So you could see the work going in. The only thing we wait now for to see it translate onto the field when the season starts. But I think he's really excited about a brand new start. I think he's excited about being in New Orleans. And I think, me personally, I think he's gonna have like a Pro Bowl type season. And with Chris Olave, man, that young man is phenomenal, bro. He works hard. Then when you got somebody like Mike Thomas to kind of work with you and kind of groom you. And this kid, he just puts the work in, man. So I'm looking for a big ceiling from him. And with the receiving core that the Saints now have, that kind of opens up his game to kind of stretch the field. It's it's a lot of excitement in New Orleans to see this offense get on the field.
Yeah, and now you can obviously teams are going to have a lot more to worry about because in the red zone they're going to have Jamison Williams, a running back that can really obviously broke the record for the most touchdowns by a running back or whatever last year. So you're going to have to worry about him in the red zone. But then you're also going to, obviously, like you said, Michael Thomas. So now you're going to have to, because I feel like a lot of last year, you guys have probably watched a lot more film, but I feel like a lot last year, since there wasn't as many guys to worry about, Olave was getting double team, was getting a lot more of the attention. Now he's going to get a lot more one-on-one looks, which at Ohio State, we saw what he could do there. I mean, that guy was phenomenal. That offense at Ohio State when he played was almost unstoppable, and that's because he was getting single team. So I'm excited not only for that, and then if whatever you guys can get out of Alvin Kamara is great as well. So that should be a lot of fun to watch. And
But the kid to watch is a kid from TCU, Miller. And this kid is going to really surprise a lot of people in that backfield, man. He's really going to take the NFL by surprise in that backfield.
Yeah, I was wondering because I knew you guys drafted him. I don't know, since it's early in the season, how many snaps he's going to get, but obviously Kamara's been injured for last season he was pretty injured, if I was correct. So Kendre Miller could get his shot very quickly. That's for sure.
Not gonna happen. Ain't gonna be quickly.
Really? Okay.
Nah, man. Alvin Kamara is still one of the top backs in the league, top 5. I mean, last year, he suffered some injuries, really because the Saints really didn't have that compliment to him in the backfield. Right. Mark Ingram last year was past his prime, man. We love Mark for what he gave us, but last year was not. It was not the same Mark Ingram that left and went to Baltimore, then Houston and came back. The drafting, like Coach said, the drafting of Kendre Miller is a steal. Mm-hmm. This young man, if you watched him last year at TCU, he was the thing that made that offense go. He kind of freed up Duggan, because you have to worry about him. He's a big kid. He's a physical kid. He runs through on tackles. He runs behind his pass, and he can take it to the house. He's very explosive. And he can catch the ball, though at TCU they didn't throw the ball that much. So he's an all-around back. Then you were talking about Jamal Williams. Last year, his breakout year, he leads the league with 17 touchdowns. Now, some want to downplay that and say, well, most of his touchdowns came inside the red zone. If I'm not mistaken, the red zone is the money zone. Exactly. That's where you want to cash in. So just because he wasn't breaking 40, 50, 38, or 60-yard runs for touchdowns does not take away from what this young man did. The object of the game is to get across that line, break that plane, and score 6. And he did it 17 times last year. So this year, the running back room is stronger. And also a late season addition last year that a lot of us in Who Dat Nation keep overlooking is running back Eno Benjamin, formerly of the Arizona Cardinals. Last year, Eno against the Saints had a hell of a game. He's another physical kid. He can catch out the backfield. So the running back room now for the Saints is very strong.
And just to piggyback off him, what makes the Saints offense more dangerous with Miller and Williams. If you put either one in the backfield, now you can slide Alvin out.
Right.
So now, last year was basically Kamara's though. If you slide him out, everybody went where he went because they basically know he was at 85% of the offense. Now you can't just concentrate on him. You have to respect Miller, you have to respect Williams, and now he gets in the open field with a disadvantage. What linebacker can really run with him? What safety can really run with him? So now he becomes, it's a word I use a lot, he becomes like a toy on that offense. There's so much that you can do with him and get him in space on whatever disadvantages you have now. So, I mean, that's what makes the offense even more scarier now because it's like pick your poison. You know,
Right.
if you stack the line on a run and you leave Kamara in space, there's nobody can cover him. If you go outside on him and leave the middle open, you got two backs that can take it to the house at any time. So now it's like basically pick your poison.
Yeah, and that play action game, bootleg game, just play action fake is gonna be deadly. So yeah, you guys bring up a good point here. Good points here. Truznaz 8. Go check out his channel. It's a great channel. He's a Ravens content creator. He says, "What's up, camp?" And then let's see. Jerry G says, "Coach Rock!" Exclamation point. Yeah. And then Trezna says, "We got Marcus Williams, by the way." I think the Ravens did. Yeah, that was a good
Right.
pickup.
Right.
Jerry G says, "Great interview." Thank you. Thank you. But let's move on because obviously these guys are very, very busy men. So we got to keep this show moving. But yeah, you guys obviously addressed the defensive end position by drafting Brian Bursey, which was an impressive. I think I like this because he can kind of swing in and out, defensive tackle, defensive end. He was kind of for Clemson that they could move him anywhere along the line. He has that strength, he has that power. Where do you guys see him playing most, defensive end or defensive tackle, Dolph?
Defensive tackle.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I would say. Tackle. Yeah.
They draft him to be a disruptive force inside. Outside, former first round pick Peyton Turner has to get healthy, stay healthy, and he has to perform this year. We got rid of Marcus Davenport because his snaps got taken away by Carl Granderson, an undrafted free agent who has gotten better and better every year, and he graded out as the best defensive lineman against the run last year. Then in the second round, we go and we draft, and coach will tell you my draft, one of my draft crush, Isaiah Foskey from Notre Dame. We still have Tano Passionio, and of course we got the great future Hall of Famer Cam Jordan who can still ball. And then we made some like I say, we made some signings that were solid signings, but they weren't the splash signings that make everybody stand up and say, "Ooh." Former Kansas City defensive tackle Colin Saunders. That was a great get. Once we signed him, man, you had Kansas City fans coming in saying, "Hey, that was a great signing that you guys got. We're going to miss him. You guys are going to love him." Then we go and we sign Nathan Shepard from the Jets. Nathan Shepard last year was one of the top interior defensive linemen in getting pressure on the quarterback. So the Saints, we lost David Onyemata. He went to Atlanta. We lost him, and of course, we lost Kaden Ellis. They both went to Atlanta, as well as one of our backup tackles in Shaw Tuttle. But last year, the Saints took a step back as far as run defense. For the last 5-6 years, the Saints were from 1 through 5, one of the top run defenses in the league. But last year, they dipped all the way down to 24. So the Saints and Dennis Allen decided to make a change. They wasted no time. Once Onyemata was out the door and Tuttle was out the door, they immediately brought in Saunders and Nathan Shepard. So they had the plan. They identified who they wanted. They went out, they got them, and they brought them in. Now, we're going to see week 1 just how good of a decision this is, because we got that monster coming in week 1, Derek Henry. He's going to be fresh.
Yeah.
He's going to be healthy. And you better believe they go feed them that rock. So we go see week 1 just how good that new defense interior holds up.
Yeah, and with Bursey, it's gonna be impressive because it's like the speed and the power is there. The only thing is he going to get injured? Can he hold up? And I mean, I think there's been a lot of players that have been very, very successful in the NFL that have had kind of injury concerns. My own player, Nick Bosa, in college, obviously, I think it was an oblique injury, really bad for Ohio State. Came into the league, has only had really one serious injury, has been healthy for the last 2 years. So Brissy, I'm excited because you put him in a system like this where, like you said, there's a few guys that can kind of take the pressure off of him. Now he gets one-on-one looks and he can win anywhere along the offensive line because of that speed and that power. And what he was able to do at Clemson was very impressive. So,
Right.
but yeah, moving on to the last topic, ceiling and the floor for this team. You guys can both answer this. I don't care. What's the record? Where do you guys see them kind of ending up, and what's the absolute ceiling? What's the absolute bottom that you guys can hit for this year? Coach Rock.
Go ahead, Coach.
Me personally, I could see them as high as the 2 or 3 seed in the NFC.
Ooh, okay.
Because I mean, when you really look at the NFC, you say
Right.
Philadelphia, and then who's next? I mean,
Exactly.
everybody else is kind of feeling their way through this. So, I mean, when you look at that team, this team is pretty much it's a team that's been together. They've added some pieces to get better. So I would say the 2 or 3 seed possibly, and I can't. If it's rock bottom, it's got to be on. It's got to be on Dennis Allen because this team is pretty much got everything that's needed to be a contending team, man. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, there's a piece here and there that you can add, but I mean, it's one of the top teams in the NFC on both sides of the ball and special teams.
Dolph, what about you?
Coach know where I'm about to go, man. I'm not getting caught up in the paper no more. I got caught up in what was on paper last year, and they went 7-10. First of all, you have to hope that this team can stay relatively healthy, especially with the most important player on the field. That's under center. That's Derek Carr. For the last 3 years, since number 9 has hung it up, we have not had a consistent week in and week out starter at quarterback. This team needs Derek Carr upright. The offensive line must get back to being one of the better offensive lines in the National Football League. So, backing off, Coach, man, I say the ceiling is 12-5. And listen, if the Saints don't win double-digit games, man, to me it's a failure. You know.
Yeah.
And this year, what has happened is everything that Dennis Allen has asked for and wanted, he has it now. He has his own people in there. He has his coaching staff. He has the people in that he feels comfortable with. So now the only thing left to do is to go out there, get this team together, make sure you get the correct 53. And let's go out there, man, and play some football, man. Let's play some smart, winning Saints football. Not the clown show we had to watch last year. It was, I mean, a lot of times, man, it was hard to come on Sundays after some of those games, man, because you kept seeing the same mistakes over and over and over and over again. And it got like a scratch record that just kept repeating itself. So 12-5 as the ceiling, 89 as the flow, man.
And not to mention you coming on screaming and hollering about I was worried about you, man. You come on. You stayed upset. Dolph was upset. Oh, man.
Well, and talking about your, schedule here, it's like the hardest people, in my opinion, that you guys have on it is the Giants and Lions. So it's, in my opinion, it's like you have teams that might but here's the thing with Derek Carr. It's like I think it was Dolph. He said that Derek Carr really, or actually it was Coach Rock who said it. Derek Carr with confidence and if he's not getting stayed upright, could go back to a 2017 or 2016, I believe it was, Raiders Derek Carr, and that was a borderline playoff, or sorry, not playoff, Pro Bowl. No, a Pro Bowl quarterback. So it's like you get him on a team, you pump him full of confidence. It's like, hey, the sky is the limit for that team. Not obviously counting the easier schedule. Obviously, that could change as the season goes on. But it's like, yeah, your team, now that it has players back healthy, now that it has a consistent, or hopefully will have a consistent quarterback, yeah, the sky is the limit. Not counting the fact that the AFC is stacked and the NFC, I mean, the 49ers, my team, a top team last year, but they have a question mark at quarterback. You have the Cowboys, who they're always so, but they're with Mike McCarthy. It's like that guy hasn't won a Super Bowl in over 10 years. He's, I don't know, in my opinion, mediocre. You guys probably agree with me. So like, they're the Cowboys. And then, you know, in my opinion, you guys have a more established quarterback than the Falcons. So yeah, I think there is a good, very, very, very good chance that you win your guys' division and get, 3 seed would definitely be in your realm of possibility, for sure. So, yeah.
All right. Well, one thing we don't do, Coach and myself, we don't go off of last year. See all that? We hate that talk about the schedule from last year.
Right.
The same teams that ended last season are not going to walk on the field this year. Everybody, just in the NFC South, everybody in the NFC South thinks they have a chance. They all going for it. Carolina, Atlanta, even Tampa. People Tampa. What did Tampa do? Tampa already had talent.
Yeah.
They just don't have the quarterback that many people think that they need. You know, you go from arguably the greatest quarterback to Baker Mayfield. So, you know.
Well, and that's true, because like last season, I'll bring up an example again for my team. It's like last season we were supposed to have one of the hardest records, and then at the end of the season it was deemed to be one of the easiest records. So things could definitely switch over 1 year. But guys, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you both for coming on, for sharing your how do I say this? Your coveted, is that the right word? Coveted time. So thank you for coming on, guys. I enjoyed chopping up the Saints with you and kind of getting a little bit more knowledgeable on this fan base.
Hey, no problem.
Glad to come on, man. Glad to come on.
No problem.
And real quick, before you guys get out of here, kind of tell them again where they can find you, and what you guys do a little bit.
Oh yeah, you guys, y'all can find us on YouTube, the Keeping It Real Who Dat Sports podcast. Again, we are part of the Come On In Sports Network, Coach and myself. We also are on Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, and Twitch. We go live on Twitch and Twitter also. Matter of fact, we're going live next. When we get off here, we're going live at 8 o'clock. So you guys are more than welcome to come over. And like I said earlier, everybody's welcome. Come join the family. Come be part of the fun. We'd love for you to come in and interact about your team. Bring your team in. It's not just about the Saints. You know, we're open to everybody. Everybody is respected. You come in with respect, you get respect. If you come in another way, well, we're gonna give it to you. It's just that simple. But man, look, it was an honor, man, to be on your show. And like I said, we're gonna have to get you over there, man, during the season at your earliest convenience. Hey, you family now. For having us, you family. So all you have to do is just hit us up and let us know, man, that you're available, and man, we'll make it happen. Again, Ben, thank you for having us, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I'll be back tomorrow with their rivals, Jew Talk Sports, which he covers the Falcons. You guys might have heard of him, but he covers the Falcons. I'll be back tomorrow with him, and then Sunday, Gridiron Blitz. He's a Lions fan as well. So we'll see you guys within the next few days. And guys, have a good rest of your Friday night. Go hang out with family. Go have a good time. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Who
Who
that?
that?